Hi everyone, welcome along to today's training session. My name is Roshni and I'm part of the customer team here at SuiteFiles. So today's training session is going to cover our standard user training. It's our basics training session where we're going to go through the functionality of our main SuiteFiles apps, which are the web app, the Outlook add-in and SuiteFiles Drive. Just before we begin, please note that if you do have any questions, you can add them to the Q&A section, which you'll be able to see in the Zoom webinar panel. I'll be keeping an eye on anything that comes through during the session. Also note that I'm recording and I'll upload the session to our YouTube channel, which is called SuiteFiles. We do have some other ways that can help you with your training, which is our Help Centre. You can find that at help.suitefiles.com, and you can also contact our support team, which is support@suitefiles.com. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that you'll need to do is log into your SuiteFiles site. So to do this, you'll need to enter in your SuiteFiles URL. Now, hopefully you all have that in an email, but if you don't, it should look a little something like this. So our site is demosuite.sharepoint.com. So that's what I've entered into my Chrome browser. We do recommend that you use Chrome with SuiteFiles, and that's because we have developed a Chrome extension, and we'll be going through the functionality of that in our session on Thursday. So if you haven't registered for that, you'll be able to learn a little bit more about our sort of fourth and final app, which is the Chrome extension, and because of that, we do recommend that you use the Chrome browser. Okay, so next you'll log in with your Office 365 email address. And your Office 365 password. And then click sign in, and that should log you in to your SuiteFiles site. So because it's using the Office 365 login process, just note if you've forgotten your username or password, then this is something that you'll need to follow up by your Office 365 administrator. It's not something that SuiteFiles has access to. Also, if you do have two-factor auth, then you'll be prompted for your code at this point. But I don't have that for my site right now. So once you have clicked the sign in button, whichever method you're using, then you'll see your SuiteFiles home screen, which will look a little something like this. So just to familiarize yourself with the SuiteFiles user interface, and this is the web app that we're looking at today. So the majority of our time spent will be in the web app, and then we'll also take a brief look at the Outlook add-in and SuiteFiles Drive towards the end of the session. But this will be where your sort of main focus is day to day. On the left-hand side of the login, you'll have your very top level of folders. So we have a mixture of folders and files in SuiteFiles. So if you're on the Files tab by default, that will just show you the top level folders, and then you can simply click on the folders to navigate through and get where you need to go. So you can just keep scrolling, and then once you find a folder that has some files, you can see that I'm just using the, we call them breadcrumbs at the top of the list here, just to get back to the previous folder, skip a few folders. Now let's have a look at, don't have any here. We've just been extremely good at tidying up the demo site, but it does mean that I don't have any files right now to show you, but we'll take a look at creating one shortly. So files will just sit in this list in the main display here. So let's take a look at some other areas in the app along the top here. So the next you'll see is favorites. So favorites allows you to have really quick access to files or folders that you're accessing regularly. So you might have a timesheet or some other central document that you're constantly having to update, or maybe a new client has signed up and you want easy access to their folder each morning when you log in. So you can click on your favorites and navigate to either folders or files to find what you're looking for. So clicking on that will open up the 99 Corporation folder immediately, and you can go from there. To favorite a file or a folder, so the way to do that is if you navigate to the folder that you want to have stored in your favorites, navigate to it, and then you'll see alongside the folder name, you can click on that star. And let's take a look in business. I think that we shall have some files in here. So if you have, say, a sick leave form, you navigate to the file, and then to the right of it, click on that star, and that will add it to your favorites. So if we just flick back into here, you can see now that under files, we've got the human resources sick leave form, and we've favorited the 3X partners folder as well. Recents is the next one along the list, and this will tell you any files and folders that have been modified or created recently. So on the left-hand side, you'll see a number of filtering options. So that will help you to drill down and find what you're looking for. If you're interested in a particular email that's been accessed recently, or a client folder perhaps, then you can use those filters there. Or if you're looking for something accessed or created, recently by a member of your team, then you can also filter by person's name. Images, this is just a really quick way of searching specifically for image file types. So you can enter a search term into the top of the screen here, or if you're looking for a logo or a screenshot, then if that is part of the file name, then it just sort of shortcuts that option there. From there you can download the image to your computer. Tasks is where you can manage files and folders that you have shared with others, or others in your team have shared with you. We will be covering tasks in more detail in our session tomorrow, so that will cover off sharing folders and files with members of your team, and also how you can share files with external users. So do pop along to that one if you don't know how to do that already. That's covered in our advanced training. As is scanning. So the functionality with SuiteFiles is that you can create an email address. You can set that up in SuiteFiles. You can enter that email address into your scanner, and then you can scan files to SuiteFiles. They'll end up in this Scans tab here, from where you can choose where you want it to live and simply rename and file it, and that will take care of the scanning process for you. So again, we'll cover that in more detail in our session tomorrow, and we'll show you exactly how to use that feature. What you see under More will depend on your user permissions. So an administrator will have the ability to manage users and groups, so that will really determine who has access to what in your site in terms of client folders perhaps, or if you want a particular person to be able to delete files, then an administrator can give the team access to that on a user by user basis. So we cover that off in our admin training, which we'll be holding after today's standard user training session. So if you are a standard user and have been given the access to manage templates, this is going to be where all of your file templates, folder templates, and email templates will be stored in SuiteFiles. So you'll have the ability to edit or rename them from there. And viewing, and we go over that again in our in our advanced training session tomorrow. And then the recycle bin is accessed by everyone. Now, here we can see certain files that have been deleted recently. If you are a standard user, you'll only be able to see files or folders that you yourself have deleted, but if you're an administrator, you'll have access to everyone's deleted files and folders. So if for whatever reason you have deleted a file or folder accidentally, you can come into the recycle bin and navigate through, and when you find the file that you want to reinstate, you can click on restore, and that's going to bring it back into the folder that it was originally in. So if we click on restore, that's now moved that file back into the 2018 folder under 99 Corporation. So there you can see it's been restored. So next we'll take a look at how you can set up your user preferences, and we do suggest that you set this up pretty early on in the piece, just because it sets up some of the default behaviors that you'll be using day in, day out in SuiteFiles. So to access your profile settings, click on your username in the top right corner and then select user profile settings. And here you'll select file preferences. So the very first option is whether or not we want to see archived content while we're navigating SuiteFiles. And I've currently got that set to no. If I switch that across to yes and then close the window, which then in turn saves my preferences, if we come back to home, we can see that we have a number of archived files and a whole bunch more folders in our list. So that's what an archived file will look like as you're navigating through. So the reason that we've got this feature is just so that you have the option to keep your view nice and tidy. You can keep archived files and folders out of sight, out of mind, but do keep this in mind if you are looking for a particular file or folder and you can't find it. It could possibly be due to the fact that you have this setting enabled. So that one's quite a handy one to know what it does. I like to keep it nice and tidy, so I just switch that to no. Then the other option is whether or not you want to show both times and dates while you're navigating files. So this relates to the date last modified column, which you'll see throughout SuiteFiles here. At the moment, you can see, if you can see just behind this screen, I can only see the dates that a file was last modified, but if I switch this to yes, it's going to also add the timestamp. So if we go into back into clients, we can see that this file was last modified at 2:44 on the 18th of December. So the final setting is a very important one. Let me just find, I need to find a document. So let's go back into clients. And I know I have one somewhere handy. Okay, let's go back into very extensive human resource policy here. But this is what a document will look like when you open it. So to open a file, you simply click on the file here. If you opt to click this button, just keep this in mind, it's a really, really important one. This is the download button, and that's actually going to download the file to your local computer. When you open it from, say, your downloads folder into Microsoft Word, then any changes that you make in that file are not going to be brought back into the file that you have stored in SuiteFiles. So that's quite a different behavior, and it's an important one to be aware of, is that by clicking the file, you're going to be ultimately editing something that the whole team has access to. It's not going to be locked away on your system. So always click the file to open it. You can open up any Office files such as Microsoft Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, and the like. Those ones you'll see an option to edit in the browser or open it directly into the Office app. So edit in browser is the option that's sort of enabled by default. And here you can make some edits. And once you have made your changes, just click the Save and Close button. And that's going to save that change to SuiteFiles. Now, where it comes into your file preferences is that by default, if you have this set to yes, then it's going to assume that you want to edit in the browser. If you have this switched to no, then it's going to automatically open a file for you in the respective Office app. So if we try that one again, you can see here that I've now got a message that pops up on the screen. You have to be really quick with this one. The first time that you switch this option on is that you want to tick this box and click Open Word. And you'll have to do this for every type of app the first time you open a file of that type. So first time opening a Microsoft Word file, that's going to pop up as a prompt, and that's just opened up in Word on my other screen. Just drag that one over. So this is going to open it up in the Microsoft Word application, desktop application. So from here you also have the option to edit it. Those changes are going to be stored back into SuiteFiles. So it just comes down to, I guess, personal preference as to whether or not you prefer working in the apps. They've got a lot more features and functionality, especially as far as spreadsheets are concerned. So one option that you could have is just have it set to open in browser, edit your Microsoft Word documents in the browser, and then whenever you need to, let's just... viewing only. Okay. If you want to say, open that one up. Again, I'm just going to enable editing this time. You can see that I've got autosave. So it's already saving back to SuiteFiles for me. You can also force a save if need be. And you can see that if it says save to SharePoint, then that's saved back to SuiteFiles, because at the end of the day, SuiteFiles is a nice, easy way to use the SharePoint Online functionality. So if you wanted to just switch it back to yes, then you'll always have that option to either edit it in browser or open it up in the Office apps at the click of a button. So all the while, those changes will be saved for you. So open an Office or edit in browser. So if anyone does have any questions at this point, then please feel free to add them to the Q&A section. Otherwise, next what we'll take a look at is how to find things quickly in SuiteFiles by using the folder filters, quick search, and advanced search. Okay, so the first way that you can navigate around your site, of course, is by simply clicking around and looking for a file until you find it through your folder structure. So as you've seen me do, you can click through, click on the client folder, and then click until you find the file that you're looking for. That can take a bit of time, especially for someone like me that has done a recent tidy up of things and the files aren't where they were this time last week. But if you do have a number of, say, clients in your clients list, you don't want to be scrolling through forever in a day to find what you're looking for. So the easiest way to drill down to a particular area in your clients list is by using the filter for folders. So if you place your cursor in this field, and if you're looking, say, for a client with their first name starts with S, then type in S and then press enter on your keyboard, and that will bring up all the client names that start with S in your site. So this does only relate to the very beginning of a client name. If you want to be a bit more specific, then you can enter in a word and press enter, and then you can see here that by searching for or filtering by suite, then I'm only presented with the client names that start with the word suite. So that's one option of getting to things quickly in SuiteFiles, and you'll see that filtering folders is anywhere throughout your site and throughout the folder structure in your site. If you can't find what you're looking for there, then the next option would be to jump into your quick search, and this is the field at the very top of your screen. So you can just type your search term in the bar here. So for example, if I'm looking for a letter, then you will see that a number of results have been displayed. So typically, if you have a client folder that contains a letter, then the clients will display at the very top of the list. So this one gives a bit of a priority to client records, followed by any documents or other files are listed next, and then finally any of your non-client folders are just sitting below. Favorites also will be displayed at the very top of the list. So one thing to note about this one is that the results are rather limited. You can see that I only have 7 Word document results here. So if you want to, you can turn this quick search into an advanced search by either clicking the advanced search for button, or at the end of your search term, simply press enter, and that's going to turn the quick search into an advanced search. And you can see that now I've got a whole bunch more results, 314 in fact. And what I'd want to do here, because it's still quite a few results, I'd use the filters along the left-hand side of the screen to reduce those results even further. So the first option is content state. So that's asking whether or not you want to look for all of your files or any archived content. So all will look at for everything. Current will look at any active or non-archived files, and archived is going to present you only those that have been archived. You can see that by clicking on current, then the results have started to narrow down. We then have the option of file type, and if it's for a particular client folder, it will display, and so on. So you can keep going until you find what you're looking for. If you're wondering what the financial year is looking at, so if you have a folder structure for your clients that contains a financial year, so you've got a 2018, 2019 rather, I forget that we've changed years completely. So you've got a 2019 folder and you're looking for something that's sitting within that one, then we will display those as a financial year. If you don't have financial year folders, then we're simply looking at the date or the year last modified. And so that basically covers the advanced search. It is only a search for files, so keep that in mind. It's not necessarily a folder search, but once you find the result, then you can open up the file and then go ahead and edit, open, share, etc. We also do have a search in current folder. So you can see here that if you've navigated to a particular folder, one of your clients' folders on the left-hand side, you can also use the option to search in current folder as well. So if I look for letter within, that didn't quite work. I'll follow up with the team on that one. But that should drill down into the actual folder that you're in at that point in time. So next we'll take a look at creating client folders and how you can create folder templates as well. So folder templates in SuiteFiles are a really great way of every time you create a new client, you can have a prescribed set of subfolders that get created at the same time. So for example, we have set up in SuiteFiles our own folder templates folder. So you do need to first of all create the folder structure that you want to use in SuiteFiles first of all, and that's just done by creating a set of folders and subfolders. So every time I have a new client come on board, I want the subfolders of correspondence, email, engagement, etc. to be listed. So to do that, you can click on the three dots next to the folder name, click Create Subfolder, and then click Create. Then from within there, you'll click the three dots, create subfolders, so 2019, create, and then click back, click the Create Subfolder. So you'll keep going through that process until you have the folder structure that you want to use. So that also shows you how you can create folders and subfolders within SuiteFiles. Let's say we want to then, and I'm going to do this one, use this one because this is more complete. Let's say we want to have this set of folders each time our new client comes on board. You still need to turn it into a folder template. So that's the final step of the process here in terms of creating a folder structure, is to click the three dots to the right of the folder name and then select template folder. I'm just going to give mine a date just because I do this all the time and I need to keep track of them, but you probably won't need to date your client folders. You can just call it something like new client templates, add a description if you want to, and then click create and close. So this whole process is going to take a copy of all of the folder structure. If you do have files within the folder structure too, that's fine. Just note that it will take a copy, an exact copy of that file for you. So the more files and folders that you have, the longer that this creation process is going to take, but you can absolutely include those as part of your folder structure. And that's now stored a copy of the folder templates in our template manager in SuiteFiles, and it's now ready for any of your team to apply when they're creating a new client folder. So if we go back to our home screen, when you're creating a new folder, you'll want to navigate to the area that you want it to ultimately live within. So if you click on clients, and let's say we're creating a new client, select create subfolder, and then give the folder a name. So from here, you can choose a folder template. So you can see that we've saved several folder templates already. This is the one that I've just created. So that's the one that I'm going to use. And then click create. And that's going to create the new folder for you, including the new folder structure. And it's going to open that up for you in SuiteFiles, ready for you to start adding files to it. So let's take a look at how to create a new file in SuiteFiles. If you're within, the best thing to do is to be within the folder that you ultimately want to store that file within. So let's just jump into the correspondence subfolder, and then we're wanting to click on the big blue Create button in the top right corner of the screen. So here you can create a file from a template. This is something that we'll go through in tomorrow's advanced session. But here we want to take a look at how you can create a file, say a Word document. So click on that and then name the file and then select Create Word Document. And here we're back to where we were before, where we can now either edit the file in the browser or open it up and edit it in the Office apps. So you'll note that this list of documents is somewhat limited. It is restricted to some of the Office 365 desktop apps such as Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote. So these are the ones that you can create directly from within SuiteFiles. If you have, say, a PDF file that you have on, say, your desktop, you can also just simply drag and drop that. So if you have a file, you can simply drag and drop that into SuiteFiles and that will upload the file for you. If you need to perform any file actions, then you can access these by clicking the three dots. The most used are the download, share, and edit options. So those are represented by those icons that you see here. And we've also got them from the drop-down list as well if you click on those three dots. From here, you can also rename the file. And then click on Save, and that's going to just rename that here. And you have the option to archive, move, copy, delete, and view and show in folder. So these are available for each of your files, and similarly we have folder actions as well. So click on the three dots and you'll see a number of things that you can do with a folder. We also have the ability to perform actions in bulk on files. So you can do this by selecting more than one file. And the easiest way to do that is to hover over the file and select it. And once you select it using these tick boxes, then you'll see that you have the option to download, move, copy, archive, unarchive, or delete. So these are the bulk actions that you can perform. If you have more than a few files in your list, then you can select all or deselect all using that top button there. So in terms of these options, the download option will download a copy of these files to your computer. Of course, keep in mind that once you have done that, then if you're intending to make edits for those to be reflected back into SuiteFiles, you won't want to do it this way. But if you do, for whatever reason, need to download multiple files, then you can click on this button and that's going to download a copy of each file to your downloads folder or wherever your destination is. And if you don't see them download immediately, then do keep an eye in your of your pop-ups, blocked pop-ups in your browser. Sometimes that can prevent these files from being downloaded successfully. So keep that one in mind. We also have the option to move and copy. So if we wanted to, say, move a file, we can click this option and then use the back arrows to navigate through until you find where you want to move that file to, or you can also copy the file by using that same option. We also can use shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, to move and copy files using this tick option on the left-hand side here. So while it's ticked, you can select Control and X on your keyboard, and that's going to cut the file You can see that it's slightly grayed out. That means that it's been successfully cut, and then you can navigate back to where you want to paste the file into, then press Control V on your keyboard, and that will paste the file into this new location. You can also use this one to copy. So Control C on your keyboard and Control V is going to do a copy and paste. So you can do that in bulk as well if you wanted to, if you had a number of files in the list. So that's a nice hot tip to take away with you today. And if you do have any questions on the file or folder actions, then please let me know via the Q&A section. Otherwise, what we'll move on to next is the Outlook app. Okay, so next thing to look at is the Outlook add-in. So this is going to put a little panel to the side of your Outlook emails, and it will give you a really quick way to file any of the emails that you have received and from your clients, and also importantly capture any files or emails that you have sent from Outlook and file that directly into the client folder in SuiteFiles. So first of all, we need to download the file. So click on your username, and we've got this download center here. So click on download apps, and the one we're looking for is SuiteFiles for Outlook. Okay, so we want to open that. This is my downloads folder. So once you've downloaded it, you'll locate that in your folder, click on the Disk 1 folder, and then double click Suite Mail. And that's going to download the latest version of SuiteFiles for Outlook. Just bring that across. So once it's done that, it's pretty quick, then you can open up Outlook. And here on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see the SuiteFiles for Outlook add-in. So as I said, it just sits as a panel to the right of your inbox, and we'll need to click on the Login to SuiteFiles option and enter in our Office 365 details. So click on Login and enter your site URL. So this is the one that we use to log into SuiteFiles, and a handy tip here is that if you jump back into your SuiteFiles site, you can copy and paste your site URL from here. Normally your site will go up until .com. Some of you might have a longer SuiteFiles URL, so just check with your administrator if you're not sure of the credentials that you need to use. But once you've got them, just paste them into here, and you'll use exactly the same email address that you used to log into SuiteFiles with. And your Office 365 password. If you have two-factor authentication, there was an advanced login option on the previous screen, so make sure that you select that if you are using two-factor auth. And once you've done that, then you'll see the Outlook add-in appear on the right-hand side, and this just mimics the exact folder structure that you have in your SuiteFiles site. So we've got our clients folder. We can navigate through to, say, our 99 Corporation folder, and perhaps we want to jump into the email folder or navigate back. So this has the option to just use the navigation by clicking through. Ultimately, you will be using this for mainly your client communications, but you can also access your, say, business folder. Yours might be called something different, but if you have any business correspondence that you need to store in SuiteFiles, then you can do so from here as well. So the idea with this is that as you have emails coming in, so perhaps files coming into your inbox, then you can use the navigation on the right hand side, or you can also use the search in the top right of the screen to find what you're looking for. And once you find the folder, you can drag and drop an email into the Outlook add-in. So once you do that, you're going to see the uploaded messaging appear in the bottom of the screen there, and you'll also notice that we have an added to SuiteFiles category that's been added automatically. So this just indicates that this email has been recorded in SuiteFiles. So that includes the attachment as well. To access the attachment, you will need to click on the file itself from within the add-in, and then you can open up the message in Outlook. So this is an option for you, especially if you're looking for older files or older emails that have been stored by colleagues in SuiteFiles. You'll be able to access them from clicking this option, and that's going to open up the email, albeit on my other screen, but that will open up exactly the same email in full in the Outlook app. If you wanted to store the file separately, you can also do that. So any attachments, in this case it's a Word document, I can drag and drop that and have that stored within SuiteFiles as well. So from here I can also open that up, and that's going to give me a direct link to it within SuiteFiles. We also have the option to save an email as we send it. So since we have the Outlook add-in, if we are composing a new email, oops, if we have created an email that we're sending to, say, one of our clients, once we click send, we get prompted to save this file to Suite. So what we can do is we can rename the file if we need to. And using the drop downs here, we can choose where we want to file the email. So you'll navigate through, you can use your keyboard shortcuts to get to, say, the D's really quickly, and then file it away in emails, and then you want to select send and file it. So it's going to upload a copy of that email into SuiteFiles so that you can then confidently delete that from your sent items, knowing that it's stored safely within SuiteFiles. You can also use attachments. So again, when you're creating a new email, you'll have this attach from SuiteFiles button, and you can just navigate through until you have attached all of the files that you want to. So just click them and navigate through. And you'll see them upload. And once you're done, you can simply just close that window, and a copy of those files will be sent via email to your client. So the final thing that we're going to take a look at is the SuiteFiles drive. And similarly, you need to jump into your SuiteFiles site, and you want to go into the Download Center again and download Drive. So this is going to map a drive in your File Explorer to your SuiteFiles site. So it allows you to access your files from File Explorer. Just keep in mind that there are a few things to be aware of. One of those being that it doesn't actually sync or store items locally or offline. It is retrieving everything from the cloud directly from your SuiteFiles site. So there is going to be some time differences of how long it takes to load or save things compared to if you were saving them directly to your desktop. It is because every time you're clicking or opening a file, it's retrieving something from your SuiteFiles site, which is in the cloud. So it's not meant to it's not meant or designed to be a replacement or an alternative to the SuiteFiles web app, which is what we've been looking at predominantly today. It's simply an add-on, and you'll find it a lot more beneficial to use our web app. It's definitely what we recommend. But this one's great to, say, access PDFs from. If you're editing PDFs in a PDF editor, then you can open them directly from the SuiteFiles drive. So let's just run that installer. And you just want to follow the prompts. I'll just bring that across here. So once it's done its thing, you'll want to, again, you'll need your SuiteFiles site handy. So copy and paste it again if need be. And I'm just going to switch you across to my other screen so that you can see what I am doing. So you'll need to, on your desktop, you'll want to click on your hidden icons, and that's just the little arrow that's pointing up. Often you'll find your SuiteFiles Suite Drive logo here. So you want to right click that and then click Login, enter your site URL, and your Office 365 username and your Office 365 password. Again, if you've got multi-factor auth, two-factor auth, then you'll want to use the advanced settings option, but we'll just carry on without them. So we'll go through the process and should be now running. Let's just open File Explorer. So sometimes, depending on how that's gone, you might not see the SuiteFiles drive listed under your PC. So what we're expecting is an S drive. So that's its default installation location. It's going to sit on your computer as the S drive. I can't see that, so I'm just going to have to log out or exit the app. So again, back in hidden items. Yes, it's fine. Click on exit, and then back on your desktop, just simply double click the SuiteFiles icon, the shortcut there, and that should get us the SuiteFiles drive. So there it is. That's what we're expecting to see. It's the S drive here, and as you can see, it mimics the folder structure that we have in SuiteFiles, so you can navigate through and find and open files. As you can see, it does take us a little bit longer, so do keep that in mind. As I say, it's not designed to be a replacement. If you get stuck with the installation process of either of the apps, the Outlook add-in or the SuiteFiles drive, then please feel free to reach out to us at support@suitefiles.com, and we'll be able to ensure that you're up and running smoothly with all of the apps. And then you should be hopefully equipped to make a start in SuiteFiles, creating folder templates, creating new files, and just managing your file preferences so that you're up and running the way that you want to be. So that does bring us to the end of today's session. If you do have any final questions, then please feel free to add them to the Q&A section now. I will be posting up a recording of all of our training sessions for the week on Thursday afternoon, and that's going to be onto our YouTube channel, which is called SuiteFiles. So if you're interested in having a look back, or if you want to share the links with your team, then you'll be able to do so on Thursday. So thanks everyone for coming along, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I will be switching over to a different webinar link for those of you who will be coming along to the admin training session. I also, just admin-wise, need to swap over meeting rooms, so do forgive me if I'm a couple of minutes late. But yeah, hope to see you in the administrators training very, very soon. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you again soon.